Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everybody and thank you for being with us. Today is one of our guests joining us from Ramallah, occupied Palestine, Miss Amal Wahdan, human rights activist and political commentator. Miss Amal Wahdan, thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, as you know, in last weeks, in recent days, we have seen a escalation of tensions between the Palestinians and Israeli forces. A daily massacre are being carried out by the Israeli forces against the Palestinians. What is your analysis from a humanitarian point of view regarding the ongoing situation in occupied Palestine?
Yeah, first of all, let me clarify that international law and human rights laws does not apply on occupied Palestine, not only during the last 2-3 months, but all through 75 years of occupation coming next May, Nakba Day. Even before, during the British mandate and the mandate that was given to the British over Palestine, there is lots of discussions about what international law applies to that. And we could find so many arguments refuting this fact that there is no such thing as international law and human rights laws. The occupation in itself is a violation of human rights and of international law. Now that the Israelis have been occupying historic Palestine since 1948 up until now, this means that they are in a continuous breach of international law. What is happening now is a continuation of the Zionist project since the start. And the massacres that are being carried out by the new government, which is actually inciting the international public opinion and the European governments, and even the US is not satisfied with this government. But actually, what they're doing now has been done by the Zionist paramilitary and gangs before 1948 and until they formed what they call the defense, Israeli Defense Army, which is actually was composed from the different Zionist terrorist organizations such as the Haganah, the Irgun, Lehi, etc. And what we see right now is magnifying the whole picture and the nature of this colonial and apartheid system run by this government and the previous governments as well. What they're trying to do, thinking that they can be successful in suppressing the Palestinian people and their resistance, which has been escalating as well. It's natural that the Palestinians are fighting back and resisting the occupation. It puts an end to all schemes and to all illusions about the peace process and about the two-state solution, what we call two-state illusion. It's buried right now, and thanks God that we have these mad gangsters in the government to put an end to such play on stage about peace and about the eligibility of negotiations. They tried to teach the Palestinians that they will rule by the laws of war, and that's what's happening. These are war crimes. Under international law, everything that is conducted, that's being conducted by the Israelis is classified as a war, as war crimes, because it is an occupation. And for us, we believe that this occupation is a continuation of 1948. We cannot separate, because the Palestinians living under the Israeli law or rule in 1948 has been going through this for 75 years. The discrimination, the racism, the latest national law that they impose. Actually, the Jewishness of this state in itself is against the international law, and it's against democracy, what they brag about all the time. And that's some of, or a major part of the opposition or dissatisfaction of the EU, for example, who has been criticizing the Israeli measures, the Israeli suppression measures against the Palestinians. Since the beginning of the year, we have like 88 martyrs already, and most of them were assassinated. They were trying to scare Palestinians and freedom fighters that they will persecute them. That's what they are doing in the street, doing so far. Assassination is part of what they were practicing.
That's right.
All these years. So I believe that this is from one side is clarifying the picture for the international public opinion.
Very well.
The real nature of this colonial apartheid regime ruling the Palestinians.
Yeah.
And its effect is going to be witnessed, as we can see it during the past 2 months so far, and on the Israeli side as well. 2 days ago, demonstrators reached like 250,000 people all over from the major in the major cities, and the continuation of these protests and these demonstrations have reached a point where, as we say in Arabic, you know, breaking arms. I mean, breaking bones. There is no going back. There is a real friction between the current government and what it represents, Zionist, religious Zionist radical parties, and the Zionist left, or we can say secular Zionists. These two camps are coming into clash. And if things escalate more, there will be shootings from both sides. I know that it's by the police and by the border guards, but it's going to be intensified.
Yeah.
We witnessed the assassination of Rabin in 1996, and in 1978, another peace activist was shot dead during a demonstration. With these parties, with these ultra Zionist and radical parties in power, and in sensitive positions like Ministry of Security, this means that he can do whatever he wants without even paying any respect to their parliament or to the Israeli public opinion as well. So yes, we are, as Palestinians, facing horrible times during this government, but at the same time, we can see the Israelis themselves, they are facing the same sort of measurements, which didn't happen before. Changing the judicial system, or adapting some of its laws, and alteration of the essence of these laws for the Israelis means there is a big coup d'etat, against the previous judicial system. And this is threatening everybody. We can see that this is affecting not only the political arena, it's also affecting the economic companies and IT companies who are migrating now outside Israel, between brackets.
That's right.
This means that they are not even, they cannot see any potential in economic advancement and development here, though we know that Israel is being identified as advanced IT, in the IT section, in the IT technology, and in the IT sector.
That's right.
So from the other side, we can see that these protests are integrating into the army itself, the Air Force, and security. So all these, what is composing this state? They have the army, which used to be sacred. Now we see that this army is being corroded, and it's no sacred, no respect. Having radicals in the army means that the establishment, the military establishment itself, under threat, and pilots who are not, who've been, revolting against the government and refusing even to fly Netanyahu over to Italy. This in itself also a big thing. We haven't experienced these developments and deterioration in the economic, political, military, security establishments as we are witnessing them right now. We know that there are lots of contradictions and lots of problems within the different parts of the society, because as we know, they come from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, etc. But racism is being practiced against, for example, Ethiopians, against workers from Sudan, for example. So all this together is shaking the whole society, the whole Israeli society. We've been expecting something like this to happen, but I think it's going beyond even our own expectation. We thought that after the military operation in Dizengoff in Tel Aviv, it will, make a difference. It will, make them more hesitant to go on with their demonstrations and protests. But it seems like, as we say, it reached a breaking point where these two camps are not or cannot come together anymore.
That's okay.
There is no national unity as they were trying to do in times of war. Now they are in terms of war with Palestinians in occupied territories. In all of Palestine, 1948, they have their own contradictions there. In Gaza, they have their resistance. In the West Bank, all these brigades, militant brigades, are forming in different cities. So they are under threat, which means they need national unity to to fight back. But now we see that there is no such thing there, and they are really under threat from within, from Palestinians all over Palestine, and also the axis of resistance in the region.
That's right. Sorry for interrupting you. Well, as you know, one of the latest news that we have heard, and it was somehow shocking news about normalization of relationship between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They both have released a statement regarding that, and we have seen a different kind of reaction from the Israeli authorities. Many of them are blaming Netanyahu for his failure in, foreign relationship. Exactly at the time when the world was expecting the normalization of relationship with the Arab states in our region, we have seen that Saudi Arabia, as one of the pillars of Arab society, has normalized and restored this relationship between itself and the Islamic Republic of Iran. How do you think are going to be the effect of this normalization of relationship between Iran and Saudi Arabia on the Israeli position in our region? And given the fact that the Israel is suffering from a domestic political deadlock, as you have mentioned, in such a situation, we usually see that when Israelis are encountering with a inside deadlock, they're gonna react at the outside in order to break that outside, in order to, for example, attack Palestinians or make some troubles for other countries. Might be Zionists inside because of an external threat. So how do you see the ongoing situation inside Israel because of the position of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and also the possibility of revival of nuclear deal JCPOA between the Islamic Republic of Iran and P5+1?
First, as to create an enemy for the public and fight the enemy, for the demonizing and even for all these past decades, especially under the rule of Netanyahu, they were threatening always that they will, attack Iran, and all these air raids that they take over Syria in different locations, like yesterday morning, for example, under the cover that they are attacking Iranian attempts to develop or to support Syrian army and Syrian government. So under this slogan, they try to persuade the international opinion that they are defending themselves. They are in defense of others' actions, outside actions, actually. Now, with this normalization of relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia, it came like a blow-up for them. And for Netanyahu himself, he was so confident that he's going to sign a normalization agreement with Saudi Arabia, as they did with United Arab Emirates and with Bahrain, and to an extent degree Sudan and Morocco, for example, to add. But now he cannot even explain it to himself. This is a major development in the region, a major development in the whole world, actually, and being signed in China under the sponsorship of China is also something that came as a hit for the US and for the Israelis. But for the Israelis, they know that this will have like a domino effect in the whole region. This means that the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Iran, it will also affect the oil and energy equation in the whole region and in the whole world. It will affect things in Syria and Lebanon and Palestine. They insisted, and it was very clear by the Saudi Arabia leadership, that there is no normalization with Israel until they submit to the Arab Summit resolutions in 2002, which of course for us, we have a different opinion about, but they told them that without a Palestinian state in 1967 borders, there is no normalizations of relation. Actually, they repeated this since the last summer. Remember when Saudi Arabia took a very positive position regarding the OPEC and the oil prices. This was another blow-up and another hit for the U.S. But during that period of time, they reiterated that they won't have any normalization agreement with Israel until the Palestinians have their rights. So for the Israelis and for Netanyahu, this is a defeat. It's a huge setback. And they know that it will have all domino effect on the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. United Arab Emirates yesterday announced that they had halted some of the agreements with the government of Israel. So we can see already that there are developments in the region and affecting the previous peace agreements. We have to stress the fact that normalizing relationship with the regimes is not affecting the people of those countries. For example, the Moroccan people are backing up Palestinians always. We saw that during the World Cup, when the Moroccans were raising the Palestinian flag after they won their game. So the public opinion in these Arab countries are supporting Palestine, while the leadership is being harassed, I would assume, and pressured by the U.S. because Israel has no weight in the region without the backup of the United States, without the support, all sorts of support, whether it's money, military, or diplomatically. So it's going to be a hard time for them. All media is talking about it. Strategists are talking about it. And they're accusing Netanyahu and his, because they don't read between the lines, of course.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Amal Wahdan, for accepting our invitation. A human rights activist and political commentator from Ramallah, Palestine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.